Hello everyone, welcome to this wonderful class on practice. While the live student connects, I'm going to pay attention inside and relax. I haven't talked for 3 days. Self-contained, Swasthya. Pay attention to yourself. Be self-contained. We start a practice and then I explain why we do this practice. Swasthya. The word Swasthya is a huge philosophy. We do it in the practice today, self-contained, or to be ourself. Self-contained. That's good. Swasthya. I am within myself. I am myself. Swasthya. Yes, Swasthya like that. In the concept of Swasthya, there's no specific mention of incarnation. This is different than aham nivedin, aham atma. Okay. Swasthya is not against incarnation, but it doesn't focus on incarnation. Focus on self. Swasthya. So that's the practice that we do now. The self. I would even say the soul. Swasthya. We'll take a moment to feel and relax. Swasthya. All right. We will speak now of the joy of interacting with people. I was thinking of almost a joke this morning. The New Agers, from which I am one of them, in meetings, in New Age meetings, who speak of the New Age, who do New Age things. And they speak of past incarnations, past lives. Oh, that person killed me, I killed this person. And we speak of past life events, often in the very atrocious ways. There's no need to believe in reincarnation for this talk. The simple fact that past life conversation usually has to do with troubling events is a proof of the misperception. In an entire lifetime, you meet people, you enjoy them. It's fun. You have a family, friends, laugh. A few bad relationships, but usually it's pretty good. And then there's the bad moments. We mostly bring those bad moments on ourselves. If someone killed you at one point in a lifetime, that means you had an entire lifetime of good memories. Most old people look back in their life and they're happy of the good things that happened. So the amount of good things that happen is huge compared to the few events of suffering. I was just thinking of New Agers speaking of past life. And they usually try to find the worst possible scenario. I mean, it is the stuff to resolve. It is cool. But there's a lot of good things. Now we forget about past life. That was not the point of the speech. It's just what reminded me of that. It just means that in our life, we will have a lot of good interactions. And we will tend to focus on the few bad ones. So let's focus on objectivity here and de-dramatize our life. We're often focused on the worst that happens to us. And it is unpleasant when it does, of course. But there's a lot of good. Laughter. Fun with friends. Before a heartbreak, there was a lot of good time with that person. It counts. It counts in the total of that. It does count. Let's be positive. Let's give hope to our life. So interacting with people, most of the time, there's a lot of possible good times. Let's remember that. This being said, now we focus on the problems. It will happen that someone will enter your space. Humans, we have this illusion that we have a space of our own, a bubble. It is but a dream, but we live it as real. So, okay, let's deal with that. When people enter your space, I will be the first one to not want to feel invaded. That means I believe in a personal space, or else I would not have that fear. Okay. At home or at work, there might be a moment, an event, where someone invades your personal space. This is where we lose integrity. we lose peace. We become aggressed by someone entering our space. I mean, there's people you want to enter their space and you want them to enter yours. It's all the good relationships, all the laughters. And yet, there's this latent fear inside that someone would enter our space. So it's important to remember, well, this is why we practice today. A personal space is denial. It is a fear of suffering. We are who we are, self-contained as a soul. Swasthya. If ever someone enters your personal space and it is irritating or disturbing, it is wise to remember, I am not that space that I imagined was just invaded. I'm just me. Focusing on ourselves, feeling swasthya. The Buddhists, we speak of the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. First, we take refuge in the Buddha, in the quest of pure consciousness. We also take refuge in the Dharma, which is the wisdom that we practice. And we take refuge in the Sangha, which is the community. In this case, let's think about taking refuge in the Dharma first, maybe the Buddha if we get there. Swasthya is a way to take refuge in the Dharma, in being wise, in the wisdom of knowing what we really are. So we practice Swasthya. I exist as myself. Swasthya. I exist for myself and others, if you are charitable, but we exist for ourselves. Our space is our consciousness. It is not a physical environment that we dominate. It is not a place that we own. It is not a specific distance from our body, like this is my space. Wherever I go, don't get into my bubble. This is not our true space. This is not the akasha, which is the word space. Swasthya is our space. It's who we are. So basically, why do we really feel irritated? Here we are speaking of personal growth again. Why do we feel disturbed when someone enters the illusion of our space? Greed can be one of them. We want to keep doing what we are doing now, which is usually productive and useful. It is much more comfortable to keep doing what we want to do. It's entertaining, it's productive, maybe it's relaxing. So we don't want someone coming into our space, or what we have defined of our space. Actually, we like our inertia. We want to stay in a current state or seek comfort. in the best of our abilities. So it's disturbing. Yes. Let's be prudent here. If you have a bad environment to live in, if it is constantly invaded with aggression, you should probably find another space to dwell in, of course, or better your life situation. So if it's a constant thing, I mean, we're human, and we need to have a proper environment to live in, where peace can happen most of the time. Now, let's be honest. Most of us have an environment that we can be at peace most of the time. So why do we still feel aggressed when someone enters our bubble? It's a greed. It's an animal greed, okay? We have to remember we are not the illusion of space we have defined around us. And that is why we feel irritated when someone comes into our space. It is someone disturbing our plans. So I remind you, with the exception if you are most of the time disturbed or aggressed, prudence, compassion for yourself, justice. Find a place where you can find peace most of the time. Of course, this rare situation applies. But otherwise, what makes us irritated when someone invades our space? Yeah, we're capricious little beings. We tend to forget that we exist as ourselves, Swasthya. That what we really are is ourselves, Swasthya. So imagine the possibility, someone comes in, talks to you. What is disturbing is you have to stop what you're doing, watching your show, or doing your work, whatever. We feel aggressed. Let's practice this, Swasthya. It doesn't matter what happens in the environment. I am safe within me. Cultivate Swasthya until safety is an illusion. Because insecurity is also an illusion. None of this exists. It's just perceptions and dreams. There is self. I mean, I'm an insecure guy, so just because I'm sensitive, I am insecure. So I understand insecurity. But this is how I practice Swasthya. Finding myself. If something is invading, I don't need to react. Unless it's to defend my life, of course, I would. There's always this, this prudence about how much is it invading, really. Could I just find myself and de-dramatize everything that happens? De-dramatize the interactions with others. Remember that in a lifetime, we will have so much more good interactions than bad interactions. But we mostly focus on the few bad interactions we had recently. And sometimes on bad interactions we had far in the past. Mostly the recent ones. When someone enters our space, we lose focus on what really matters. Swasthya is that, well, one part of Swasthya is that quest to find us inside. We would call this, in the mundane world, finding our center. Yeah, that's what most people say. Okay, I lost my center. It's really a deep quest for the soul to find our swasthya, our self, to be self-contained. So we practice this now. We study it. How does it feel? Do I need to respond to an aggression if I'm not really threatened? It's just an event. Do I need to react? Do I need to be angry now? Is it necessary? Swasthya will bring the illusion of indifference to others. If you become self-contained and you don't react to someone's invasion, they will think you just don't care. Well, maybe you don't. That's the point. With swasthya well cultivated inside you, I am what I am. You know, I am what I am. Aham sat nam aham. I am what I am. Swasthya. Someone comes and invades your space, talks to you, where the threat is only to your arrogance. You know, the threat is only to your greed of comfort. Do you really need to react? To respond aggressively? To defend yourself? Imagine the possibility of simply keeping integrity. An event that happened. Someone is talking now. What is it saying? Does it matter if they're shouting? What is the content of their message? Oh, they're looking for the fucking screwdriver. Okay. I don't know where it is. Or, I saw it there last time. Is it necessary to respond with the same level of emotional intensity as others? Really, is it necessary? We could remain ourselves. Swasthya. Let's say the invader is not angry. They're just asking a question. Let's say they want us to change activity. Hi, can you come and help me with this? Or, baby, let's watch a show. Stop your things. You know? Whatever would come to aggress you, is it necessary to protect yourself? If the aggression is in your mind. Basically, if your health is not threatened, if a gun is not pointed at you, if you're not about to get hit by a baseball bat, you don't need to respond aggressively. That is a choice we make to lose our peace. When all there is to do is evaluate what just happened. Someone suggests we change activity. How much do I want to change activity? Will it be fun, the other activity? Am I afraid of retribution if I displease the other? Why? Why am I afraid of offending the other if I don't wish to change my activity? So, well, you'll say on the top of your head, give me a moment to think about it. But actually, you need the moment to find integrity. Why would I be aggressed? Is the invasion violent? Okay, ham sat nama hum, that's all wrong. Okay, so Raven, delete the comment, or ham sat nama ham. You know, like aham nivedina hamatma, aham, aham. And satnam is that truth. Okay, and it doesn't really matter for the practice. I just said that out of the top of my head. Swasthya is the important philosophy here. How strongly do we invest ourselves in that bubble, that imaginary space that is ours, and someone will come and invade our space? Do you understand that? Yeah. So we practice, we study Swasthya. Being myself, being a soul, my own space is my consciousness. All of this is suggested in Swasthya, which is a big field of philosophy. Cool. If your space is constantly being invaded, not because you are dramatic and a few times becomes always, you know, oh, why do they always do that? But it's just once a day, you know, or it's not often compared to the time you have. So let's not dramatize with this. But if you're really unable to perform your work, or unable to rest even at home, unable to find peace, you have to affirm yourself. Set boundaries. That's for your well-being. Everyone needs a time of peace. Okay? But in the non-dramatic way, most of the time, it's just an event. Why do you need to respond emotionally when you can just find your integrity? Swasthya. Why would I be aggressed now? It's just someone talking. They suggested I change my work. Hey, I will finish what I'm doing now. And then I will commit myself to what you want. Or then I will tell you if I feel like it. I still don't know. Maybe you should not depend on me and find your swasthya. Well, no, this is... If you tell others, I'm at peace now, you should go find your center. that's arrogant. That's bullshit. But there's a polite way to say exactly that. I just don't feel like it. Of course, you'll have to deal with other people's lack of personal growth. If they react to your rejection, it's life. It's life. We are in relationships with people. And it usually is good to have time with others. It usually is good to nourish our relationship with others. Yeah. So that was the big thing about this class today. Yeah, that was a big thing about the class today. We switch to hey, before we switch, let's just mention the parenthesis that I started with when I spoke of past life. That's the bridge that I wanted to make. Our focus feel that we're constantly looking at the possible negative, and that's what we talk about when we talk about past life. And if New Agers do that, it means in the present daily life, we are dramatic like this. Okay? Just a little parenthesis. I feel this truth and it's helpful talk. Thank you. Okay. I thought it was a question. Yes, there is truth. This is what Swasthya leads us to. A truth. Fear of rejection is one of the big things that makes us lose our peace. When someone invades our bubble, and the major force that rises is fear that the others won't love us if we don't respond positively to their request. You understand that? Fear of rejection. Fear of losing someone else's love. That brings a lot of conflict. Someone comes with a request, do this, and you don't feel like it. But you're afraid to lose the love. So it makes you angry to feel rejection, preemptive rejection. The rejection that could be if they're unhappy with us. So now we become angry at them of making us feel like shit because they invaded. But actually, we are the ones who just felt like shit, who felt fear of rejection. You see the complication here? We could just find peace, be at peace. They have a request, yes or no. Could be fun. If it's a responsibility, you should go. It's life. You have to find your own balance in those choices. But we're afraid of someone's retribution when we say no. So those emotions rise. And then we believe they just did this to us. So we get angry. Why do you keep fucking disturbing me all the time? It's not all the time. It's just there. And what really hurt us is our fear that others will stop loving us. And that is important. If you want to preserve your peace, you have to live for yourself. Find a balance. Sometimes you will respond to the other positively. Yes, I will go. And sometimes you'll respond negatively from their perceptions. I don't feel like it. I wish to keep resting now, or I wish to do my work, or whatever you're doing. I wish to play. The others will feel less important to your eyes if you choose yourself. That is a big challenge. Are you always going to choose the other? What is the cost? If it's a responsibility, you married that person, you've engaged yourself to those payments, you had that child, and you still have it. You still have all of that. And let's say a baby is not autonomous. It's life. Now with the isolation, we work from home. There are families who don't understand. You should be at an office, but you're at home. So they constantly bug you. I lived that at one point. I was at home, working, and I was invaded. Lucky for me, I was with 3 people in this house who did personal growth and understood at one point, I need space. That's good. Let's bring another point of view. You have to live choosing yourself to find peace. Others will feel rejected. Now you have to understand, if that applies to you, it must apply to the other. Think of yourself as the one potentially invading other people's space. Be ready for rejection. Be ready for rejection. They're not rejecting you. They just chose themselves. You know? And also, understand that this person will be afraid to hurt your feelings if you go and invade their space, if you have a request, basically. When you ask something from anyone, they might fear displeasing you or losing your love. So if you see anger rise or irritation rise, remember, I exist for myself. I can live without that request being fulfilled. So make them feel it's okay if you don't feel like it. I'll just be autonomous. But if you never come and touch me, it means we will not have a relationship anymore. You know? But it's okay if you don't feel like it. You know, it's communication at this point. It's just communication. And then that's another class. That's another topic. Everything before communication. That's the class today, Swasthya. To know how it feels to feel invaded. Why did we feel invaded? It's because we are not existing as self. We can't feel invaded if we exist in Swasthya. It's impossible. But we are in this world, pulled out of our comfort zone constantly. It's life, of course. So we practice Swasthya. And then, once we remember this feeling of Swasthya, yes, there are emotions that rise when someone comes in. Find the real irritation. It is inside you. Anyone around did not irritate your space. Exception to prudence and compassion for yourself. If you can never have peace ever in your life, you need to change something in your environment. That's just caring for yourself. Self-love. But if you have some peace, then you have some work, some responsibilities. Some things happen. It's life. And the third thing of this class, remember how you feel when you have felt invaded. This is how others could feel. Be compassionate. Care for others and how they will react to the invasion or to your possible request. Care for, you have to affirm yourself at one point. Hey, I want to do something with you. Can we do something? Or hey, it's your turn to do the dishes, or whatever. It's important to remember this person has feelings too. They might respond in kind. And if they respond negatively, they're living something and it doesn't belong to you. Be compassionate. It's okay. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Okay. So Swasthya, in this sense, the illusionary bubble, the feeling invaded. It's a reality. We live it often. All of us. Yes. All right. So we practice Swasthya. It will be useful also, Aham Nivedina Hamatma, the mantra of self, mantra of Atma Yoga. Study it if you care. It helps if you find what you are, open up to the soul and incarnate. All right, Swasthya everyone. Find yourself. Realize the illusion your bubble pushes you through and enjoy. All right, peace. Love you guys.